Bro, nobody likes skill-based matchmaking because it punishes you for doing well.
I don't play COD to have a sweat fest. We just want to play and have a good time. I don't mean to spoil the gameplay, but I mean, you guys can tell so far I'm not doing so well. Because of SBMM, I'm barely pulling a 1 KD.
You're supposed to be terrible when you first start, and the only way to improve is by playing better players. You get better by playing good players and seeing what they're doing and trying to learn from what they're doing so that you can get better. That's just life. Like, that's just common sense.
I might just tweet that, bro. SBMM is dog shit. If you think otherwise, unfollow. If you can't understand why SBMM in a non-ranked mode is stupid, I don't know if I want you to follow me.
So, it's that time yet again. Today I will be discussing a topic that never seems to die. I'm talking about skill-based matchmaking, also known as the ultimate boogeyman in Call of Duty. Ooh. Why do people consistently bring this topic up every single year, or multiple times a month for that matter? I see it on Twitter, on Twitch, official Discord servers. No matter where you go, there's always somebody ranting and complaining and crying about skill-based matchmaking. Gah. For those who haven't really kept up with the whole news about skill-based matchmaking, it's essentially an automated algorithm within online video games, right? It's mainly in games involving competition between human players. You play a few matches, and eventually the game will start understanding what kind of skill set you have. So, for example, you play a game and the skill-based matchmaking, let's say it's me, for example, I'll be like this. Alrighty, so you've played about 3 hours of multiplayer, and after careful analysis, we've determined that on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, we believe that you're a 6. So we're going to put you with other level 6 players, maybe mix things up with a few variances here and there. If you improve, we'll see how you do against the higher skill pairings, but otherwise, if you're not ready, we'll place you in a lower skill tier until you gain more experience. Sound good? Great. Go ahead and have fun. The longer somebody plays Call of Duty, the more accurately the game can determine your skill level. Eventually, your KD ratio and other statistics will stay at a certain point and barely change. This is perfectly normal for every Call of Duty game that you play. As a result, the game can identify you better and keep things fair. That way, you're not easily destroying people below your skill level, nor are you completely bewildered from the high-end gamers. Or as the Call of Duty community calls them, sweaty tryhards, right? I mean, MLG sweats or whatever you call them, I don't know. Okay, let's get back on topic, shall we? So, over the years, I've heard a lot of arguments and complaints against skill-based matchmaking. So, without further ado, I'll offer a list of all of the major complaints I've heard and dissect each of them. The first and most common argument is that people believe Call of Duty is a casual game. Casual seems to be identified by most people as a game that's not very competitive in terms of difficulty. I mean, who would not want to play a game where the competition is more relaxed and has less sweaty tryhards in it? That means you can play around with weird custom classes and you can finally relax after a hard day's work so you can remain happy and content knowing the game will always be fun to play without those sweaty tryhards ruining your fun. This seems all fine and dandy to most people, but there's one glaring issue here. What kind of opponents do you need that will allow you to perform well despite your lack of effort? Noobs, lower skilled players, people who can barely fight back. Yeah, that's right. Opponents that can barely fight back will allow this Call of Duty casual experience to exist. I mean, why else do you think people are trying so hard to reverse boost or use God accounts or apply this no-lag VPN to their account? Because those methods I described allow people to find easier opponents to slay. It's quite pathetic that people will resort to cheating and exploitation just to play against the lowest skilled players, all for the sake of this Call of Duty casual experience. And the amount of excuses they come up with to defend these selfish acts are just awful. They're just terrible. I hate it. And yes, you can get banned for reverse boosting and exploiting the matchmaking. If you think otherwise, you are sadly mistaken. In my opinion, regarding casual Call of Duty itself is determined by the game modes. If you add something fun to the play in the form of, say, Infected and Prop Hunt, then Call of Duty should add more modes like that. Maybe we can get something like Michael Myers again, or maybe some fun vehicle racing modes, you know? Anything that can help me relax in that matter would be great. But what's that? People don't oppose SBMM just to bump stomp? They just want randomized matchmaking that will benefit everyone? This is the second argument I hear about, and let me say this, there is no such thing as fully randomized matchmaking. What people seem to not realize is that over 50% or more of Call of Duty gamers are below average. This is not confirmed, this is just my personal estimate. This means that the player base that's above average are way more likely to be paired against those below average players. Meanwhile, if you're on the opposite side of that skill spectrum and you're part of that below average player pool, your chances of facing off against higher skilled sweats will always be guaranteed. I would not call this randomized. I would say RNG is in your favor, but it's rigged to stay that way. The third argument involves ranked play. People seem to think that public matches are supposed to be relaxed, while ranked play is the hardcore mode to have skill-based matchmaking and nothing else. The true reason for ranked play is to provide players with the professional aesthetic. It's a way of telling people that, hey, you want to compete like the pros do? Well, here are the rules and here are the restrictions. Go have fun. Without SBMM in public matches, there is still a chance for some sweaty opponents to enter your game. There we go, here comes ranked play. It's the ultimate lure to keep those kind of sweaty players at bay. Ultimately, I would assume that the small portion of the population plays ranked anyway, so that idea wouldn't work. The fourth argument involves the idea that the casual community needs protection in order to sell more microtransactions. I mean, first of all, cosmetic items sell based on how they look, especially if it's based on anime. You release 80 anime bundles on day one, I guarantee Call of Duty makes at least $15 quadrillion in the first 4 hours. Secondly, player retention is healthy for a game. You just can't expect people to have fun when they're going up against people who are way too good, and also gets boring for the good players to constantly have no competition. As long as there is a balanced medium, everything works out. From a business perspective, if I find more people playing the game because the system was designed to make things fair and retain players, I will be happy, because that's more people looking at the available bundles considering a future purchase. It also allows people to spread word to other friends in order to actually get them to purchase the game itself. This just keeps adding more and more people, and that's why the populations have always increased. Everything just keeps going up and up and up. But it's not just SBMM that keeps players interested or retained. Other decisions are made, like addressing the season pass by giving people free maps, taking out loot boxes, enabling cross-play. A company needs to survive by making money, and that's just common sense. Observing feedback is one thing, as long as the arguments against it are valid, but saying that skill-based matchmaking is a bad thing? Good luck trying to convince people. Part of the microtransaction argument that also pops up from time to time is that Activision released a patent about cosmetic items affecting your performance in Call of Duty. I can assure you, that whole patent thing is completely false. In fact, a YouTuber named Drifter made a video debunking those claims. If you want to watch, I'll provide his video in the description. The fifth argument is how people believe skill-based matchmaking ruins your connections. This is a big one, by the way. So back in 2015, Michael Condrey himself, one of the lead former developers of Sledgehammer Games, released a fireside chat, basically debunking these claims, stating that skill never takes priority over connection. Ever. No excuses. Despite the article's existence, people still refuse to believe it. Imagine that. The word of developers somehow doesn't apply anymore, even though they've worked on the game and know more about it than we do. Instead, they rely on personal stories about how their games are lagging so much, even though they don't even mention things like their geographical location, whether or not they're using an Ethernet cable, the quality of their internet service provider, what game modes they have selected, what times they're playing, and many other variables. The only rebuttal that I can think of that people will try to share with me in order to discredit my opinion that connection takes priority over skill is the exclusive Ace and Drifter video about the recent skill-based matchmaking test in Cold War. While I agree both YouTubers are very talented in their field and they've done a lot of research, I felt their analysis was more biased. Even though their video suggests that skill-based matchmaking affects your connection negatively, I saw the spreadsheets. I saw all the tested accounts, and none of them had a ping level over 100. Having a ping below 100 is still very playable. Granted, yes, I understand, the lower the ping, the better. But it's not outrageous as the thumbnails claim to be. Trust me, I know. The sixth argument is how people think skill-based matchmaking was weaker in the past. Let me explain. Compare the population of 2007 without crossplay with the current player base with crossplay. The more the population increased over the years, the complaints against skill-based matchmaking also increased. With a higher population, this means that skill-based matchmaking can more accurately pair you with your opponents, especially with cross-play that was enabled. How is it that nobody ever considered this? It's not hard to figure out. What, you think the developers can just turn it up because they want to? Do you even have any evidence that they actually did? Granted, I have evidence, and you can go back to the Fireside chat. They mentioned optimizing the skill-based matchmaking parameters, but it doesn't prove that they've actually consistently turned it up. If you still disagree, please, talk to a developer, see what they have to say about it. The seventh argument I hear about, which is the most deceptive of all, involves teaching lower-skilled players to become better by stomping them 24/7. Wait, so getting destroyed allows people to learn faster? I mean, these people say, oh, well, I became better over the years because I got stumped. I really can't take their word for it, people. I mean, Jesus, like, let's just call it out for what it is, and that is, it's a big fat lie. Do you honestly think a group of wild, hungry wolves are going to teach sheep how to become better animals? Absolutely not. Skill-based matchmaking is that protective gate that keeps the sheep safe. The wolves want that barrier removed so they can tear the sheep apart. It's as simple as that. Nobody learns in that situation. The whole teaching the noobs how to get better argument is so hypocritical. Why should the noobs learn by getting destroyed without any hope or chance of coming back, while you yourself don't have to put any effort? What makes you so privileged that you believe having fun should come at their expense? Let them play their game. Leave them be. People only want to pub stomp because it provides entertainment for themselves and maybe their YouTube and Twitch channels. That's all it comes down to. If I were a higher skilled player and wanted to help people of a lower skill level, I would offer advice. Tell them to practice in combat training. Stomping on people consecutively serves no purpose and it demotivates newcomers. The eighth argument I've heard before, but not that often, are friends who can't party up because their skill levels are not compatible. I'll hear sob stories like, oh geez, I have a 3.0 KD, but my best buddy only has a 0.4. Gee willikers, my friend is not having a good time. I hate Activision and their skill-based matchmaking. Here's another one. My son and I like to play Call of Duty, but he ends up crying because everyone is better than him. This game needs to cater to my son so he can have fun. That way I can be a good daddy and he'll finally be able to love me. Okay, being serious here, I can mildly relate to the best friend situation when it comes to different skill levels. In my situation, I'll either play anyway and suffer a few losses, or play a different game altogether. Let's play like VR chat, or let's play Uno. You know, something a little easier that we can all enjoy. If your team is losing because you invited a friend or family member that's not good at the game, that is both your decision and your consequence. You can't blame anybody else but yourself. At no point should the game become easier because of their presence, because people have actually tried to exploit this before, and they have failed. Here's the ninth and smallest argument I've heard, right? SBMM gets exploited so much that it's just not a good thing. I mean, I can get easy gameplay regardless. In fact, skill-based matchmaking makes things easier for me. I'm like, okay, first of all, reverse boosting has been observed by developers over the course of, 6 years? Of course they have their eyes on you, and they've banned accounts over that time on multiple occasions. Trust me, I know. You look at YouTube, you go on some YouTuber named Ali A, right? He says, oh, he made a new account, and you know it's a reverse boosted account. Not even that much longer later, he posted another video saying, I got banned. Do you think the developers are not listening? You're heavily mistaken here. Even when people succeed in exploiting skill-based matchmaking in terms of things like reverse boosting or getting a god account, It's not a clear indication that skill-based matchmaking is a bad thing, it's just a confirmation that you're just a cowardly smurf. I want to pub stop and beat up on bad kids, and I'll be a smurfing coward in order to get what I want. That mentality, it's just mind-blowing. Freaking desperation, just to avoid all the sweaty lobbies because they were getting their ass kicked. That's what I'm seeing here. So in conclusion to this whole video, I feel the complaints against skill-based matchmaking are frivolous. If the arguments made a lick of sense, then skill-based matchmaking would have been removed ages ago. And yet, here we are. Skill-based matchmaking still exists after 14 years. Oh yeah, one more thing. For those who disagree and tell me that Treyarch removed skill-based matchmaking from Black Ops 2, I keep hearing about that over and over, right? That claim was never proven, and it holds no validity. Personal feelings about how the game felt sweaty at first and then it got better isn't enough to make a compelling argument. Most people I come across with opinions against skill-based matchmaking act like spoiled brats who eventually become verbally aggressive when I don't agree with them. Check out my Twitter feeds and you'll see what I mean. In fact, some will even physically threaten you for disagreeing. Here's a clip.
It sucks. It's a piece of shit, and I don't like it. And if you do like it, I want to suplex you like I would suplex Joe Secott through the glass windshield of a Camry at a Toyotathon winter sales event. Okay? Stop lying to the goddamn kids, Activision. We're the kids. You are lying to us.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
The Call of Duty community is just a selfish collective that wants all the fun for themselves. They don't care about anybody else, but they try to hide this fact with words like casual Call of Duty and I don't want to try hard every game. Speaking of trying hard, let's have a little bonus argument, shall we? Let's say I'm an average, angry, anti-skill-based matchmaking gamer who plays Call of Duty. If I smack people around, that's okay. Those weaker players need to get better at the game, and I'm simply teaching them. But when I get smacked around by somebody who's better, it's not okay. It's always about blaming the game and its skill-based matchmaking for the reason why everything went wrong.
Give me the newbies so I can feel good about myself. Please, Activision, remove SBMM so I can get some casual Call of Duty boners once in my life.
Lobby's disbanded because of SBMM. This game is ruined.
In actuality, the lobbies disband because this started in Modern Warfare because this feature called Quick Play. You create your own mosh pit and the lobbies disband so you can get another mode to play without having to constantly back out. How do people not know this? It always comes up in discussions. It's ridiculous. In addition, those disbanding lobbies that you hate so much, it also heavily prevents this thing called boosting lobbies, which I find as a major win. Even other game companies are taking notice. Hell, they're trying to use this topic as a way to market their games by saying, our game will have loose skill-based matchmaking, or there won't be any skill-based matchmaking during the alpha tests. Please, for the love of God, play our games! I will say it now, and I will say it again for many years to come. Skill-based matchmaking is a good thing, and it will never go away, regardless of your opinions against it. I don't have an issue with skill-based matchmaking because I understand competition is a mixed bag on its own. That's just the way the game works, and I don't have any quarrels with it. But in the end, I'll still be streaming Call of Duty for many years and having a good time doing it. This is RuggedTheDragon, and I say, pick on people your own size.